Hello! And for a change for this channel, I thought, technically, my channel's called Skog Does Things. It's mainly Minecraft stuff. It's probably going to mostly be Minecraft stuff. This stream's probably going to get unlisted and just attached to my main channel. But I thought I'd stream something. So, very boring free CAD start center. I have decided that today I want to build a diesel depot, because I have, as one of my commission jobs I've been making all the peripherals for a diesel depot, but as the client already had the shed and some of the fuel pumps, they didn't need those. But I want to get some nice pictures of them while I'm painting and everything. So I thought, why not? So I'm going to start nice and simple. I've already worked out approximately how big this needs to be. I've got lots of reference pictures to hand. So all going well, this should go fairly smoothly. So, let's start with this as the ground line.
Oh, I already have 4 people watching.
Wow, that's a few. So I'm going to start with... sorry, I'm just getting my... I might not be able to see the chat all the time. I am...
Deb's Red just said, hey, what's this?
I am doing CAD work based on to be specific, the King's Lynn diesel shed. It is a small little one, but I thought it'd be a nice place to store some bits and pieces. So this needs to be 100.
He's drawing stuff to 3D print.
Yes. Should be 8. Now, I've got some of the numbers worked out already before the stream, as it was mostly me just going, I've also got lots of different reference pictures open on my other monitor. And I'm just going to work out... Okay, so... that goes... to... no, that goes... that line should be 28 millimeters. This will hopefully all soon...
Lulu.
Hello, Kululu. Hopefully this will all come together before too long, so you're not just sitting here going, what's he doing? So that needs to be 2 millimeters. That needs to be...
I mean, this is going to go on his main channel, Kululu, so I don't think there's an issue if you say that.
This is not a Minecraft stream.
So
I'm not expecting young people to turn up. If they do, that is up to them. I'm not going to say don't like go nuts or anything, but okay, I guessed that one pretty well. So I'm going to make primarily the 2 ends of the shed, because the way I have so far been making this is I've worked out that to make it the full size, it would need to be approximately 400 to 600 millimeters long, which isn't that big comparatively, but it's 3D printed mostly, which means it's going to be quite large. So I'm going to make this 200 because I'm going to make it in modules for my own convenience. And I've said 200, despite the fact it needs to be 100 and... what am I talking about? Just need to be 200. And it's going to be... because the lower wall section is what is going to support both sides, as it is a passing through shed. So I need to now... words. So yeah, this is going to be very basic. I'm also going to actually no, do I skeletonize this? Or is that going to make it denser as a print. Also, technically this should be at the rail height, so I can probably... I'll make it taller, I can always fill it in, that's fine. Right, so that is one of the sections. There's going to need 2 of these on each side. I will try and set it up in some of my design software, my export software rather, to do that. So I think printing these as a solid block on should make this easier. I put a fillet, not a chamfer, along that line. 1.9. There we go. It looks like a really fat number 1. Now what I need to do next is just check an interior image. Okay, so it looks, from the drawings I've got, that the wall is only on the outer layer. So that the ends walls just cap around. So this means that I will now need to chop out a chunk of the middle. From the look of it. So this will need to be, well, it was 52.5, which means this needs to be 47. No, it doesn't. That's the wrong direction. 52.5, 50. And this needs to be 2. No, it doesn't need to be 1, because I need to remember that I need to remove the outer thickness because I've got overlay sheets I'm using. So this should be 5, except it's not. It needs to be 6. 5.5. There we go. Get the brain in gear eventually. It's quite wet weather today. Hopefully none of those people have any accidents.
Hopefully not too bad.
So this is all going to get cut all the way through. And then I need to edit the first sketch again. Except change that to wireframe view. Not that bit. This bit needs to be 2.5. That needs to be 7.5. So it stays the same in positioning, it's just a little thinner. So that is 1 exterior wall. And to make the short version of the shed, which is going to be 2 modules, I'll need 4 of those. All I need to do now is put the end capping on, and if I want to make the interior wall, I'll just need to trim off this piece all the way through and remove the end bit that I'm about to put on. And it's upside down. Lovely. So this is going to be not on that face actually. That helps. I'll take out some steps. I'm going to reposition sketch number 2 onto that facing, which is this end. Realign the sketch. Technically, I could have this as a mini tutorial for how to use this software, but I wouldn't suggest using this as a tutorial for the software. I am not very good at this, so it's best not to, you know... I mean, feel free to learn anything you don't know from me, but don't look for the answers to everything. I am not that good. So this now needs to be 28mm, helps if I hit the keyboard correctly. And in fact, that also needs to be... No, that can't. It's going to be 2. Otherwise it's going to look wrong. So So this then needs to be reverse 10mm. That puts it all the way out to there. And that doesn't look right. That does not look right at all. Okay. That needs... How thick is that piece? No, that is correct. It's shorter on the ends than on the front. Okay, so next up, on this facing, that's a 1.89. You have to put progressively smaller nearly numbers, otherwise you'll get stuff that will cross over and it won't quite go. So see this? That's actually behaved nicely. Good. So that gives you your little chamfered over end, and it would be very useful if you could see a picture of what I was trying to make. So let's see if I can get a wide angle of it without too much in the way. Save. No, did I just save page? Nah, I did save page. Right, okay, I'm getting all these pictures from Flickr. Oh, brain. And as a result, a lot of them have copy protection on them. So I can't save them. However, that is, at least the very basics, completed. Yes, I do 3D CAD for model trains, primarily scenery, as a sort of side job to my maintenance one. Now this is really thin, and that's going to be a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach to the base of this a disc there, a disc there, and a disc there. And make construction lines between these points. Set these two all the same. Do the same over here as well. And so I want these to be 10mm radius. That should be plenty. It's not a very big part. It's just I want it to make sure it doesn't fall off. This can then go 53. And these can then go 15. This can then be, let's go 80. And these should mean that as long as these are not, obviously that's way too thick. Let's put this at 0.5, reversed. And these little discs will just mean that when it prints, because it's a very tall, thin part, it shouldn't fall over. And it doesn't interrupt any of the major geometries, and I can just trim those off. So, save this. Ow. Not that folder. Shit. New. End wall lower shed. Okay, so that's one of the least exciting bits out of the way. And the next part is, actually I can just put a link in the chat to what I'm looking at and you can have a look for yourselves if you so desire. Let's see if I can find a reasonable looking one. There we go. So this is the reference. I'm going to put in the description as well. Put in the description. Yep, very exciting. Very. So next up, I need to make the end section The end bit is going to tuck just in behind these bits. And it's going to be some big square section framing. It's going to be very big and simple. It's going to fit inside there. These are going to be the skeletons that are going to hold the entire structure up, and I'm going to need a few of these, and they're just going to be at relevant intervals now. By the look of them, those are approximately 8-inch chunks. So 8 inches is, if by my memory, approximately 5 millimeters. And it's near enough to approximations for what I'm doing. I'm not desperately specific in this. Now this is the only measurements that are definitely fixed, but everything will be based off of this. So these two need to be a set distance apart, and that distance needs to be, if I remember correctly, 105 millimeters. And it also, let's tuck that, and it's twisted itself around. Excellent. So let's undo that, make that wider. That's 105. These two also need to be 105. See, they're only 89, so this might break it, but it should be fine. So those need to be parallel, if I can click them adequately. Those parallel. Now I'm just going to need a couple of construction lines. These just need to be the same length, that's all they need to do. And off to what I think is most of the way there for this section. This is very simple. It is a nice older style building, but it's still predominantly just big Meccano. So something in this is not locked. Something is in fact over-constrained at that point. That point, okay, something is loose. There we go, it's this uppy-downiness. Now, looking at the drawing, it's kind of steep, but it's not that steep. However, it looks to be about 20 millimeters. Well, it looks to be about 3 foot, which is 21. Now, I could cheat and save a little bit of time and make this whole building a little bit shorter. Because this clearance, you can't see, I can't see my hands. Again, I'm pointing at the screen. This distance inside here needs to have 7 millimeters up to the rail, so call it this line here. Then needs space for the locomotive to sit, but it's got this clearance around the edges. Also, there's different locomotives have different sizes. As if anyone saw the pictures I posted yesterday, the little Class 5 shunter that you have kindly helped me acquire is a bit shorter than the big Class 8 shunter, and is significantly shorter than the Castle I have. The Castle being a large mainline steam locomotive. So, there is these things to factor in. Now, I'm trying to see how the bit between these two is, because I think it goes from being box section, possibly even I section. Well, it might be U section. Might be U section all the way along. Yeah, it's definitely box section, but the roof looks to be in I sections. Or U sections, or T sections. I'm really not sure. I'm just going to keep it square for now, because if you're looking up inside, then you have to be very low down. So this is extremely basic, however that is another big chunk done. So this is the Wall hoop. I also use very, very detailed names. The wall hoop thingy. Now the next part is the end to the middle is going to need the exterior wall cladding. The wall cladding is a very, very basic window. It is a long parallel surface that fits over the windows apart from the ends. Which also, a few of the windows are slightly shorter, I have seen, which does make things a little easier for me. Even if it looks a little wrong, it's correct, as it were. I may do what I can to avoid that, though. So, let's go back to this first bit. The part inside, which is the pocket, which is this sketch. So this pocket is 199 millimeters long. Now, I could quite easily change that, and I think I shall. 201. There we go, that changes very little, but it just means that the end, the interior, is 200 millimeters end to end. That's all that's changed, and it makes it much easier for me on the maths. So next up we have the sketch for this. Now the walls tuck just underneath the roof, so that's nice and easy. The walls on the, let's just refer to this one quickly. So the exterior of the wall is 108.385. Now, we know, at least I know, that that is about right for what I was thinking it should be. I need to words better. So that's 108 is the outside dimension. So anything on the walls needs to be 108 or less, otherwise the roof won't fit snugly on top. So that is 108. Just going to jot that down. The wall, the end profile of it is 28 plus 2 plus another 2. So that is 32 millimeters. So that is 108 minus 32, which is 76. Okay, so the windows are a 76 millimeter high block, and I'm going to center these off the center of the drawing. Then they have a window, what looks to be about every 2 feet. So this dimension is 76. This dimension is 200 minus 5. Because the end ones are butted up against the exterior. Are they though? Let me just check. No, the end ones are overlaid. What? Ugh. Okay, they're not. They're in fact, they are not like that. They are not like that at all. Ugh. They are adjacent to the end pillars and do not overlap them. However, all the interior ones, they do. Ugh. Now, this also comes into play with, you may think, look back at this one and go, why is that bit thicker at this side than at the ends? Well, that's because it needs the window window frames to rest upon it. Now, initially, this isn't going to have the plastic inside for the windows. I'm just going to dry build it because it's easier, but it will have the plastic inside, so I need to allow for the plastic, and that is going to be put on at a later point, and then I'm going to have an interior frame. So I'm only doing the exterior frames now because I'm not quite that far gone. Haha. So, this is going to have a... What? YouTube notification, that's fine. So this is centralized. There's going to be another beam there. There's going to be another beam there. So, yeah, my beams might be a little off-center, but they will be centered as best I can. I'm also going to, when I put the frame together, I'm going to have a little strip running along the roof that will keep the beams at the correct distances apart. But the roof is going to be a very awkward piece to make, because it's going to be the frame, like a, I'm gesticulating again, a latticework frame. You'll see soon, it'll be fine. So latticework frame is the important thing, and then the actual roofing, because it's the corrugated iron type roof, but not the fully uppy downy sine wave type stuff. It's the up down flat. So this is going to be 0.5 of a millimeter thick, which is really, really thin. It's then going to have... Let's try and count. So... Well, I'm hoping to succeed at counting, but you get what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. How very convenient of it. So, I can put one there, one there. Now, this is 195 long, and these frames are perilously thin. So this is going to be, so 195 in half is 92.5. No, it isn't. It's 195. So that's 97.5. So 97.5 is obviously going to be too big. So I'm going to bring that down to 96. Now 76 as well. And so 76.5 is 35 plus 3. Which is 35 plus 3 minus a half of that, so that's 36.5. I'm good at this, honest. I've got a, you know, fairly high qualification in maths. I'm just really slow. If that's any consolation to people who are thinking he's really bad at this. That's me 1.5. That's going to be 1.5. Let's get a quick construction line. So this, now, I need to get this to a 20th of the length. So I've got 20 to fit into this space. Now, I could try and work out the maths. I probably should. So I have approximately 200 millimeters of a window with 20 windows in it. Which means I need to have a window frame every... I can't think of what the words are right now. Approximately every 10 millimeters, but with a 1.5 millimeters to one side or the other. Which is approximately 8.5 millimeters, so let's go with 8 millimeters. And see where that gets us, because I can always change this later. So that is going to be a hole all the way through, because that's the easiest way of doing it. Now, the useful feature of this is the linear pattern feature. So pocket number 1, I want to have this going 100, and let's see what 196 does. That puts me way outside the boundary. So let's put it 186. It's still outside the boundary. Sometimes it does this a little weird, and I can't remember quite how it does it. So that looks to be the same. Now, can it fit 20 occurrences in? Yes. Yes, it can in fact do that. And it looks pretty correct. Whee! Now, all that's left to do is, this is a very thin part. It's going to be a very, I'd imagine, a part that is going to break considerably quickly. So I'm going to make this a millimeter thick. And then, on the front facing, I'm going to chamfer There's that. Picked up the entire part, or is it just picked up the front face? I think it's picked up the entire part. Let's have a look at the chat for a bit. Sorry. The choice was sneeze all over my desk or mute myself. No. Mute myself and sneeze over my desk, or not mute myself and try and just muffle it a bit. Now, I've lagged out the software because I've tried to select the entire part. So this might be a little while. But I'll try and say hi to the chat. Hopefully, wow, there's 6 people. I'm not going to question why 6 people are watching, but I'm going to say thank you. Yeah. So that's currently crashed. There we go. Right, cancel. Just this face. There we go. See, it's gone a different colour of green. And again, it's going to lag, but it's just got the right part now. Hello, Moisty Live. Entertain us. I am trying. However, this is not exactly entertaining work. It's more just regular work, but I thought I would include you on it. So I'll put a link in the description. It's the Martin Hilbert's picture on Flickr, which is... I forget which one I linked now. This one. Okay. So I'm making this depot. Those diesels that you can see in the picture, one of those is my current Streamlabs goal, in case you're wondering. I've so far made most of the water tank, most of the fuel tanks, the little building behind 03081, and some little cabinets. Excuse me. I've still yet to make some of the lamps, the various pieces of piping, and some of the extra details. I also made the water tank you can see in the back of the picture, although that was some time ago now, and having found much better pictures, it's wrong. I made it wrong and it bothers me. I thought it was 4x3, it's 3x3. I am ashamed. So this needs to be 0.5. It's going to take a little while to render because it's got to put every single edge. So it might take a little while, I'm afraid, but this is, this is what I do. This is a really lovely, simple task today as well. But I can, obviously, this is just a basic building because I want to have somewhere to keep the dust off and keep it looking nice of the lovely little locomotive you've gotten me. And apparently, I'm told, people like to hear the sound of the printer during the stream. Now this looks as fine and delicate, however it's a bit thicker now, and it should be quite a bit stronger. So this is a wall section, and in theory I can print another one of these and stick it on the back, but I'd print it much thinner, just so it has the glass sandwiched, and by glass, clear plastic I've got. Which I believe, if Moisty is here... What are you working on? I'm working on a diesel shed. But if Moisty is still here, if he may remember, at one point in the past, I assisted him with the construction of a Nerf blaster. And the packaging that Nerf blaster came in was a very big piece of clear plastic on the front, which I still have, which should make the majority of these windows. So I'm going to save this, the window wall thing. Now, the last thing to do is the roof. Now, I was going to try and make these as best I can as independent modules, which technically means the wall hoop thing. I need to save that. I then need to edit this to 2.5 and then save it as wall hoop thingy mid section, because otherwise, there's not going to be two of those big ones next to each other. There's going to be one in the middle. And hopefully this is going to work. So next up, so we've got the lower section. So we've got a little retaining wall that, you know, keeps the weather out and is the main brick base. That's going to have brick cladding paper over it, or sheeting, depending on what I can get. That's the hoops that hold the roof up. And that is the walls. So next up is the roof. Yay, the roof. The roof. The roof is a thing. I have clicked something. Right, so the hoop thingy. This section up the top is 62 millimeters long, but it's going to need to be more than that. So I'm going to go 65 millimeters long, and it's going to need a little chamfer for the top. However, I'm probably going to mask that by having a cowling that runs... Yep, there is a cowling, in fact, that runs the entire length of the top of the roof. So I'm going to have a little gap in the top. But first of all, the entire building needs to be... So it's 200 millimeters is the length to the end girders, and there's an end plating that goes over that. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and just make it exactly 200 by 65. This should be really nice and simple. And this is probably the simpler bit of this part of the build. Not that button, this button. So, to there, to there. Now we'll have some more of this work coming up soon, if I feel up to it. I've got to make the little flatbeds that you can see in some of the pictures. So if you flick around the adjacent ones, you may see them. So this needs to be 200. And this needs to be 65. So these are going to be enormous pieces to print. I might split them down into smaller chunks. But for now, at least, I'm going to try and do it as it is. So this needs to be a millimeter thick. If that, I could probably get away with 0.5, actually. It's 0.5, but it's going to be, so it's going to be really, really thin, but it's going to have reinforcing ribs on it, because normally the little ribbing in the roof would be a corrugation, which strengthens it in actual senses, but it doesn't really do much at this scale, because it'll still wiggle in the longitudinal direction, which isn't so bad, but anyway. So next up, I need to make go all the way to this end. I need to make the little uppy downy bit, because the little ridged section that makes up this. I'm going to chop that line in half. Yeah. I'm going to put this one to there, this one to there. Now these need to be quite little, but not as little as I've actually drawn them, because that's way too little. So this needs to be, by the look of the picture, they're about 1.5 inches, and 1.5 inches is approximately like a millimeter. Almost, no, it's not a millimeter. 1.5 inches would be, well, 2 inches is about 1 millimeter. Let's go with 1 millimeter, it'll be fine. So that's already enormous. So I'm going to make these 3 millimeters. Make that 1 millimeter. That could probably be a little bit steeper, or that could be a little bit narrower. Let's go with 2. Let's go with 2. So this can then be 0.5. Now they're making this so thin because I'm trying to imitate the actual thickness of the material at the edges. Now again, there's cheats to get around that, but it's also a huge piece to print, so the thinner it is, the quicker it'll print, because it's still a massive flat plate, which could very easily be made out of something like plasticard. However, I don't know, I then have to pull little rain strips, the little strips on like this, and getting those all the same distance apart, and I've got 3 kilos of plastic sitting around. I'll be okay. Now, this looks really small, but put like that, that's quite a big piece. Now, this is another one of those ones that I need 40 of them along this length. So I'm going to use, again, the linear pattern tool. And I want it to go... I think it goes to the centre. It does. So we see this bit goes all the way to there. Now I need 40 of them. This is the other reason why I'm doing it all in the software. There we go. That now looks quite a bit like a corrugated roof. And what I could do, at least at the ends, is to do a little cutout of this bit, so it's got the little notch in it, but only at the ends. Because otherwise it'll weaken the part a lot and it'll get lots of uneven surfaces and it'll just look a bit bad. And as I say, if you're looking up inside the depot, you have to have your face in the rails, and that's going to be uncomfortable. So, next things. Chop off the ends, because these ends do not need to be there. So I'm just going to go very simply... Just needs to be not that. Being a little clumsy, I'm afraid. So that's 100. And 100. So I'm not looking at the chat much. I've got a reference picture on my other screen, and I will try.
I was going to read it to you.
That's
I'm going to
fine.
be muted for most of it, but I'll read it to you.
No worries. So I'm trying to not...
Debs Red asked if you were going to put grooves in it or if you were going to bind it together. Kulu said, don't want to make it too thin, surely, and then Crispo says hi.
Okay. What do you mean by grooves in it? Am I misunderstanding?
Like little things to normally like snap it together, or are you going to glue it together?
This is all going to be glued.
Question.
Super glue works really well, and if you mess it up, you can still just about break it apart again to correct things.
And then one of the other earlier questions is, would you ever get body modification?
No. That doesn't really appeal to me, I'm afraid. 99.75. I can see why it might to some people, but I'm okay, thanks. What have I done here? Is that it? Oh, alright, okay. Okay, so this is now... Oh, the height. The height is something I need to set. That needs to be, I guess, 1 millimeter. That's now throwing all those measurements out. So 1.5. Okay, so now this should, I'm just going to go in 5 millimeters. And again, I'm going to go linear tool, and then 200, 40. Pain is just weakness leaving the body. I have heard this, but do not believe their lies. Don't want to make it too thin, surely. This doesn't need to be at all load bearing, and it's going to be glued down to a frame, so as long as it doesn't bow up too much, it should be fine. And I've printed parts like this before, so these ribs should strengthen it quite considerably. I wouldn't want elf ears.
I don't think she meant to say pain. I think she meant that she doesn't do plain because she has tattoos and piercings, and also likes to have colored hair.
So that little 5mm depth means that now the roof, hopefully at least will print like this, will have these little notches out of it. So that's come out really quite nicely. I may inquire as to whether the client actually wants one of these making. As if they do, hey.
So do you have to just draw these up once and then you can like continuously print them?
Yep.
Once you have the design?
Yep. This is the useful part of my job, is I can get drawings like this done, and then when I'm live streaming later, if you want me to bother Disconnect with it, I can have my printer on. And print these. So, save roof. So this is now almost the entire thing done already, and it has only been 45 minutes. So next up, we have the roof beam frames, which I'm going to make as fairly simple H shapes, or H shapes, or H shapes, depending on how picky you want to be with my linguistics. So apparently some people are bothered by this. So I'm going to have... I think the very simple one is like this. And then the center. Now that looks really wonky, but I'm just doing it drawn quickly. Is there a good picture showing the underside of the roof? There is not. Excellent. So it looks, on the drawing I can see at least, that there is a rib running down the middle of the roof, a rib running down the sides of the roof, and a rib running down the middle of each side of the roof. So there's 3 longitudinal sections. So this, basically wrong. Okay. Next up then, is 1, 2, 3. I don't imagine it's actually going to want to make that as a part. Now, I could try and put ties for these. However, I think I'm just going to print them multiple times. So, it's 200, and there's 3 posts. There's 2 5s and a 2.5 out of the whole length. So, the first one is... it's 7.5 out of 100. Which is 92.5. And I'm going to make it a smaller section, and that one I'm going to put it to 4 millimeters. And that is then going to be, because I'm lazy, I'm just going to anchor it to the middle point of the drawing, not the middle outlet. Okay, I know I clicked twice by mistake. Let's... There we go. So that is beam number 1. That needs to be a 4mm square block. Which does mean there's going to be a bit of a gap at the roof end, but it'll be fine. Whoops. And... so that's actually, no, that's going to be the longitudinal one. I should make these all the same, because I will mix them up, because there's going to be a very short distance in it. So I need to have 200 minus 12.5 is 187.5, divided by 2 is 93.75?
What was the math?
93.75?
I don't know. I didn't know.
Okay, I can. There's a fairly easy way of doing this. Construction line. Construction line. Construction line. construction line. Let's make those flat. So 2.5, 5 equal end-to-end measurement. Let's make sure those don't overlap. Good, that happens sometimes. And that means that that is 200. Hey, I got it right. Okay. So 93.75. So that is very exciting, I'm aware. It is a block. In fact, looking up into the drawing, not drawing, the photographs, it's actually a bit smaller than that as well. And that 3 by 3. So save, roof, middle, side, support. And then I need the end bit, so I need to go back to the hoop section thingy. I'm going to save a copy as the roof, side support.
Apparently people are wanting you to print them different body parts. This Kululu apparently has magnets in his fingers, which makes him a cyborg, so he said he should have a robot hand. And it was suggested that you could print him a hand. Then Crispo asked if you can print him a new nail. Because he is missing his nail at the moment.
Concern. So that's that one. No sketch link. What have I done? Oops, I had deleted the sketch. Okay. So actually what I need to do is not what I've just done, is measure this angle, which is 111.8. Okay then, 111.8. Let's try and remember that.
Oof.
So, new sketch. $111.8. Nice and simple. This is going to be a 3mm bar. That is going to be a 4mm bar. Job done. Now that needs to be, I believe, 93.75.
Yay.
And again, this can just be mirrored. Well, actually, looking at the drawing, not the drawing, the photograph, this beam isn't actually flat. It is is it a parallelogram? So it is in fact like that. And presumably squared off at this end. So this line actually needs to be the one that's measured, and that needs to be 3mm. That looks really awkward and janky, but it will be fine. Now what else? The other thing I can do now is not make that line vertical, but keep everything else the same. And actually make this line horizontal, then it should print flat. There we go. Now this part, I need to close that. Discard changes, yep. and save this as that, because wall hoop thingy is still there. So all that's left now is the very middle. So we need to reopen the hoop thingy. And that has a top angle of 136.4. Exciting. So 136.4. Yeah. Braining. No. Oh, it just closed. Yeah, that's another one. No. So 136.4, I believe I said.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So 136.4. Make all these equal. Make that off there. Make these equal. Okay, so these lines need to be 3mm. And this, what? How is it stuck? Four. There we go. So that is the centre bar that's going to run, again, the 93.75. So that will have the roof resting on the top. And I need to put the actual little roof vents as the next part to print. They are going to be really awkward to do. I'm going to do those separately. So this little bar is kind of big, but it's not that big. So save this as roof middle support. There we go. Okay, so we have all these parts in just under an hour. So I hope this has been something for somebody. So next up, so we need to work through the drawings. So this one, we need these. Export, create STL file. Lower wall side. End. I give the STL files better names, because otherwise it's a problem. So the wall. Wall, window frames, outer. The roof. The roof is one of the better things I think I've managed to make recently in terms of it looks like it's meant to. So, roof sheeting. You okay?
Oh, sorry. I was just yawning.
So, roof support B. Let's go with that. Next up, we have this one. Export roof support A. And then this one, all the way down here at export, roof support C. Keep it lowercase for consistency. The last thing is the wall hoop. So,
Wouldn't that just be considered like inch framing?
hmm?
Even calling it a hoop, isn't that like the framing?
It is. So this is the building frame 5mm. Then need to open the thinner one. Save. No, not save as. Export. Buildings.
Absolutely, don't say that.
2.5mm. There we go. So that is all the different parts. So we've got that one, that, oops, that one. Alright, now let's open up Cura and see approximately how long it would take if I could squeeze all of these parts into one panel. Let me just go into OBS when it loads, and I will load up Cura in OBS, so you can see. And then I guess I'll probably start printing. Yeah, so it's taken me just over an hour to get all the basics done. I could have done extra. I could have done things like drawing all the brick patterning into the ground floor bit, but I like being alive, and I'd imagine if I had to draw that for long enough, I probably wouldn't want to be. Actually, while Cura's loading, there's one last bit I've missed. The wall hoop thingy and the roof thingy need to combine forces. So this is a... Actually, you know, I can do the roof middle support. I can save a copy of this. End board. Add the tag of roof. Roof, not rough. Edit this sketch. That's not the one I want to edit. That's quite a solid chunk, that is. So I'm going to make these two lines. Come on. There we go, yeah. Now, undo that. Undo that. Undo that. This point is still bound to the centre, however everything else is free to move. Oops, let's undo that. Okay, so I'm going to boost this one out to 8mm, that should be plenty. And then the roof should be 65mm long, so I'm going to go for 66. What has it done there? I'm not quite sure why it did that. Let's put some construction lines in, that might help it. So it said these needed to be 65. And these end bits need to be not 90 degrees. Okay, let's go on the other side. Number 9 needs to be vertical. That's not productive there, software. Not productive at all, but okay. Let's twist this back around again. So this part did need to be flat, it just didn't want to be flat earlier. So these now need to be there to there to there. Should be at least 7mm. That should now be all of the parts. So edit this to a millimeter. And save. Because this has all the same geometry, at least for the important bit, as the roof does. So roof, end board. There we go. So that's all the parts readied. Now let's get OBS to look at Cura. So
Oh no.
window capture. Cura. Let's turn off that one. Okay, so you should be able to see Cura now. What? I'm not going to question it.
They were picking on asking for help, so I timed them out.
Sheds, King's Lynn. Now I need all of these parts. It's going to chug a little bit while it loads them all in. So, as I'm sure you can already see, these ain't all going to fit at once. In fact, that archway only seems to just fit on its own. So, I'm going to chop this into more reasonable sized pieces. Rotate. I can hear something in the background. So 90 degrees. Now this will only just fit on the printer bed. Just. I put this over at 100. It's actually not quite going to fit there, so 90. Saki the real? Sounds familiar.
I didn't actually mean to time him out.
So that was 90, so we'll put this one at 70. Now if these overlap a little, that's fine, because it's only the little support discs. No, what did I just do? 70. No, not that, 70. This 70. Well, actually, what I can do, thinking about it, because, you know, that thing I meant to do, if you've not opened the image I'd put in the description, or if you were just having problems visualizing it anyway, let's bring this here. I'm going to need another one of those. And then rotate in blue, rotate in green. Now if that goes at x equals 0, y equals 100. No, it should be x equals 100, y equals 0. One of these should be on the origin. The other one should be on 100, minus 100 even. Okay, so now that's the sort of frame size. And these then go, it should be 105, so minus 60. Let's go try minus 60 for now. Plus 60. We'll get these wiggled into place.
And that's how they're gonna like print?
It's not how they're going to print, but it's how they should end up in the long run. So that's going to look a little bit like this. Obviously there'll be less weird overlaps and spaces, but I would hope you would get at least the general impression from this. So it's going to look a bit like that. The window's going to go on this side, roof's going to go on the top with the supporting beams within. So I hope that was vaguely productive. Now, I'm going to get these parts set back to where I had them. And we're going to see approximately how long this is going to take to print.
Oh my goodness. I have apparently unleashed the wrath of all of the stock accounts.
Ah. So, I'm going to try and print as many of the small pieces for each end as I can. So obviously I can't print another one of those arches, so that arch is going to have to wait till later.
Not you.
0, I guess 25, and I guess 0, 0, no, not that 0, so minus 25 and 10, no, minus 10, there we go. So this is a lot of the faff, I guess, point of trying to get these in here. So go with the end board. Now, some of these obviously are printed in exported in different alignments because I make good decisions sometimes. So this part needs to be rotated for 90 degrees that way and 90 degrees that way. This one is the same. These were printed as extrusions rather than as blobs, sort of thing. So, placement. I try and put these as near to 0 points as I can, as that makes it print more consistently, I find. So minus 1486, so that could be 0, 0, 0, 10, and 0, 30. Or 30, 0, actually. No, it is 0, 30, I'm just putting them in the wrong order. 20. I can numbers. Okay, so that is... There we go. No, there we go. Okay, so that should be nearly all of one side. However, you may already see some problems here. There's only one side of these, so let's move these up to minus 10, up to 0, up to 10. I'm actually going to swap these two around. I'm going to put that one to 20. Minus 10, and this part and this part are going to need a copy each. Zero and 30. There we go, and if I mirror this part, it'll at least be in the right alignment. So that makes up the two first arches, all of the interior roofing gubbins, and the walls. So that should be most of the parts I need. Now I could print 2 sets of these, but I also need to print another archway, so I think I'll manage for now. Now let's have a look. I'm going to keep this all on the highest quality because it looks nicer. It gives stronger prints. Hopefully it shall also be well. Now, preparing, so it's going to slice the part into bits, which I'll show you what that translates to in actual terms shortly. I'm going to move that up there for now, so I can get to my printer. Because I do plan to start printing as soon as I can, because this is probably going to be a heavy job. That's 7 hours 24 minutes. Okay. So we're going to get rid of those two parts.
Ask Disc if it's okay for you to be printing if you're going to be streaming with him.
I probably should do this, yeah.
Sound in the background.
Alright, now it's re-render that. So that's now 3 hours. That is much, much better. So I'm going to get the memory card for the printer.
Sure, I am a bully.
So I'm going to need 2 of these. Probably hear computery noises. So, Lin Shed Part 1. So the objective will be to go through parts 1 to as many as I need. So part 1. Okay. Hopefully that's saved correctly. Part 2. Okay, next. So that's the both ends. So I want to make at least 2 chunks of this shed, so it's going to be 400mm long-ish. In fact, 400mm exactly. So that's the ends done. The ends then need... So I can keep this bit. This bit's going to be useful. I now need to print the 2.5mm thick version of these 2 parts. I'm going to rotate it. No, not that way. And copy of that one. So that's going to be on the same place. So next up, so I guess 20 that way. 0, 0. Rotate one of these. Let's not rotate it, let's just mirror it, it'll be quicker. There we go. Not that button, that button. So, minus 20. 20. Okay, so that is then... I just need another set of these in the middle. So that bit, that bit, that bit, that bit, and that bit. Go minus 20. Not quite minus 20. Let's go minus 15. Is that going to work? It should work. Multiply all of those. Okay. So that's 5. That can be at 15. 20. 5. 35. 45. And that one's going to have to go outside at 70. 5. Okay, so that is all of the extra bits of the roof. So, part 3, prepare. So that's 3 hours and 3 minutes, that's about the same. Saved removable drivers part 3. Next up then, we need the walls. So we're going to need none of that. We're going to need, I'm going to say, the window frames. Let's go with the window frames, they'll be nice and easy. So I need 2 of those. These are 76mm deep, so let's go 50. And minus 50 and 0. And hopefully that will evade the slightly wonky patch in the middle of the printer. So, what have I been saving these as? Lin part 4 to prepare. So again, I'm going to need 2 of these. That's an hour and 22 minutes. So save. Part 5. Save. Window frame's done. Next up, the roof. Actually, no, let's go the walls. Lower wall side. Let's close some of those pop-ups. Now, I'm going to see how long it's going to take to do 2 of these, and then I will try. So that was part 5, I think I was up to. So part 6. See how long this is going to take, because I reckon this is going to be a fairly heavy one in terms of time. 4 hours 21 minutes. Oofed. Alright. Save to removable drive. Part 7. Save to removable drive. Okay. So the last bit then is the roof for now. The roof capping I'm going to work on later because I'm going to need to be able to think a lot more for that. So that should be though. This is also probably going to be a horrifically chunky fella. So 50 minus 50. Prepare. I think I was up to part 7.
No, you weren't. Yeah, because you just did part 6.
I'm just going to have a quick
So
look
this would be part
on
7.
the USB drive. So part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6, part 7. They're all the same mostly, which is good. That means I've saved them correctly. So this is going to be part 8. This is 4 hours as well. Oofed. Part 8. Lin, part 8. So save. Part 9. Save. So that's going to be... what? 4 hours, 8 hours... 4.5 hours plus 4.5 hours, 9 hours, 17 hours, 17 hours, 19 hours, 21 hours, 30 hours printing. There we go. So an hour and 23 minutes work has resulted with that much to do. So I'm just going to save this one again, eject the drive. And it is 9 o'clock. Oh, it's 8 o'clock at the moment. So let's see what I can get done. Now, I'm probably going to end the stream there, realistically. However, if people want to, I can try and remember to put the... what's the words? Work in progress pictures. They'll be on my Discord for definite, and I can try and remember to put them on Twitter if people are interested. I might as well just run through the quick calibration of the printer. So that should be fun. But yeah, all of these parts are Ready to print. So I'm just going to... Oh, that was the thing I was going to do. I might as well do this one. So layer view. So this part is all these yellow blobs. That is how it's going to print the part. So it prints it in 13, only 13 layers this one. So the first layer is going to look like that. Then layer 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There you go. Hopefully this has been nice and illustrative for people. And I am hoping to probably see you on Discord stream a bit later on. So King's Lynn part, let's work through them in order. So part 1. Now I could have just done multiples of these. I've not done that yet. Where is he? There he is. There we go. Indeed. So yeah, I'm going to spend the next few live streams probably 3D printing in the background. Yay! So, thank you for watching. It's been about an hour and a half, and I've gotten quite a lot of progress done. I'm just going to quickly see if I can share this. Actually, I'll just try and share the browser. Source. Window capture. There we go. Window capture. That one. Now watch, as this will probably not work very reliably. It's not working at all, in fact. Interesting. Properties. It does not want to work. Alright, let's go back to Cura. Just gonna remove that one. Let's try a display capture. That'll do it. Right, so I'm just gonna quickly... Ooh, no, not that one. That one. There we go. This isn't as ideal. Also, my monitors are not the same aspect ratios, which is very helpful. That's not what I meant to do. So that's a picture of it that I've been working from. All these lovely ones. That's the main one I've been using. I need to at some point probably have a go at the frames inside. I can see how I get on. Also there's interior stuff that I could do. I might put the lighting, like booms in there. I'm going to make the roofing little things, maybe the window boxes. Well, not window boxes, the skylights, but it is progressing. So yeah, I hope everyone has enjoyed watching. If you watch this later, cool! You know, if there's anything else you would like to suggest or points that you think I could do better, then yeah, I guess that's a thing. Have a nice day. I'm going to stop live streaming now. See you in Discord and I'll stream in about an hour.